How do you do, everybody?
Oh,
Welcome to Random Talks with Aiko and Psycho. Today's episode is full of shit, or is it really? Because we're talking about aliens and whether or not they exist in the grand scheme of things. Are our presidents and our congressmen actually lizard people? Are they aliens from another planet dressed as humans in human skin? Are they trying to take over us? And is that the
most
reality
likely.
of the situation, that they are not human? Let's get
The
right
bear
into it.
shit Lord.
I'm Psycho, and I want to welcome everybody to our show. And we have a special guest with us, Ewok Nation, otherwise known as my child, my youngest spawn.
Oh,
And we're going
yes,
to be
of
talking
course.
about some rando weird things. Welcome, Ewok.
Thank you. Proud to be here. Look forward to having fun. I think Joe Biden is definitely some sort of retarded reptile. Don't know what yet, but we'll figure it out as we go along the show.
Yeah, and I would like to take a quick moment to remind everybody to subscribe to our channel. If you like our content, don't forget to like and share us with your friends. And hey, while you're at it, hit that reminder bell, and that way you're notified when we drop new content.
Yeah, we are like a shareable size. Definitely share us with your friends. Like some M&Ms. Just drop us their DMs.
And hey, you know what? This would be the perfect time for you to prank text random people with a YouTube link to our channel. Get us some more followers at random. Please don't actually do this. We do not condone this. And if you do it, it's already out there in our videos live and for you to watch later saying, do not do this. Do not prank call someone to get us views. Absolutely not. No, don't do it. I'm not kidding. Not a joke. Don't do it. Anyway, moving on to aliens. Who would like to
Oh,
start?
yeah. Oh, yes. So let's clear up the big elephant in the room. Does everyone here believe in extraterrestrial intelligent life forms?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
don't.
Yeah,
How
I
about you?
personally don't.
I do.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I I don't know. I think it's a strong possibility.
Okay, then let's ask the big question to start off. What makes you think that they do or do not? What is the ultimate tell for why they do or do not?
Uh,
Well,
Go ahead.
no, well, I think for me to personally 100% believe, I'd have to actually see it. I'd have to see it and investigate it and use my senses and use the scientific method. Be like, okay, yeah, this is legitimately extraterrestrial, whether it be a fragment or real live ass, UFO. For me, at least, that would have to be the evidence to solidify it. But
Okay, fair
the
enough.
universe is big, can't say there isn't. Can't say there is.
Fair enough. Okay, psycho.
Well, I watch those videos that they put out about the military put out those videos of those unidentified flying objects in the sky, and it's not just U.S. But there's videos like just this past week in I think it was over in California. They
California.
had unknown lights in the sky again, and and nobody really seems to have an answer for these weird things. But this has been something that's been going on for a long time, even on the ancient. If you watch Ancient Aliens, I watch Ancient Aliens. I like it because I find it fascinating. Like over by Lake Titicaca. I've been waiting for a chance to use that word. Lake Titicaca. I think it's in
Oh,
Peru. Lake Titicaca. Did I say it? Want me to say it one more time? Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca in over, I believe it's Peru. There's some ruins of an ancient civilization, but they're literally the way it was built. It would have been impossible for the technology that they had for them to be able to build those things. So, especially with the accuracy that they had, like the stone that they used looked like it had been laser cut, you know, and they fit together perfect. And there's a lot of just evidence of some sort of higher life forms. And I don't know, maybe they were pre-flood, then the flood came, and then they were all gone, and everybody forgot how to do stuff. I don't know. But, all I know is there seems to be a lot of evidence that perhaps there has been like human alien contact. And I don't know. I'm just one of those people who don't believe that, God was like, oh, I made Earth, but now I'm going to make more things. I mean, like, he could have. He could have made more things, or, and it could be anything. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say I know definitively.
Okay. So I guess in this case, I'm gonna be the guy who talks about why I think that all that is not aliens for sure, because I just, for one, I see no proof, and two, just straight up don't believe it. Look at pottery. It's one of the things that has remained the same, especially for those who just use their hands. And that the pottery wheel and everything does not have to actually be mechanical in the sense that it is built with wires and everything, which we didn't have obviously until, you know, electricity and everything was born overall. So that being said, people have been using pottery wheels and stuff back in the olden days when like Leonardo was painting and all that stuff, when it was just absolute basic stuff that they were using for this stuff. That being said, you're able to create just with your hands and clay some very beautiful pieces of art, and
Mhm.
it definitely wasn't cut with lasers or anything. So no, they have proof of how the pyramids were built by humans. They have proof because
Oh,
it's you take
pyramids. That's Egypt. We're not talking about Egypt. I'm talking about a whole different place.
we're also well,
Talk
I'm gonna
about
point
Peru.
that out though still because one way or
They're
another, like
older.
beautiful craftsmanship was still made by human hands, and we do have proof.
And the Egyptian pyramids, yeah, there's proof. Actually, they weren't built by the Egyptians. If we really want to go into history, I can tell
That's
you who
true.
built them. Pretty.
Can I interject really quick?
But no,
Sure.
I got to finish the thought or I'll forget. Well, listen. The difference between Egypt and the ancient ruin that I'm talking about in Peru is that in Egypt, none of those blocks are evenly straight. They're not perfect. They don't look like they were laser cut. They look like they were cut and made by man. When we're talking about, I think I can't remember the name of this place, but it's near Lake Titicaca, and
Machu
it's
Picchu?
in Peru, huh?
Machu Picchu or Machu
It might
Picchu?
be. It might be Machu Picchu. I can't remember. But those stones don't look anything like the stones that were used in ancient Egypt. And those stones came from a great distance, and they're quite heavy due to the size that they are. So how did they move them from 100 miles away to their current location up a hill? Yeah, it doesn't work that way. And have them be perfectly laser cut. No.
Well,
Something's there.
you can still make something inside of a mold. So if you form a mold and get it down pat to what you want, then you can absolutely essentially have a laser cut item. And no one obviously carried them up a hill or even drugged them by hand with a cart. We have animals for that. They used horses, they used oxen and bulls to pull things, they used dogs. They used all sorts of things. And those animals are very capable of pulling carts with a few 100 pounds in them.
They know they were not molded. They know exactly where the stones came from. And you can see evidence of where they took the stones. But I'm telling you, you got to look at the. I'll send you some info on it so you can see.
I,
I,
can I interject really quick
Go for it.
about the pyramids? So, like, you guys heard about ley lines, right? So I
Yes.
heard that there's like this weird ley line that goes through the pyramids and all around these weird ancient historical spots in the world. Either of you know anything about that? Because to me, that sounds like freaking some sort of cultish alien stuff.
And then you got to think too, in America, people aren't really as aware, but there's evidence of early civilizations that were advanced. We have pyramids in America. I don't know if you're aware of that. How weird is that?
No idea,
That all these
actually.
people now, how did all these people on different continents think to come up with pyramids? And you can say, oh, well, they just advanced. Okay, well, then in other countries, they were building palaces and things like that. But in this country, that didn't happen. So explain that. All of a sudden, there was a decline. Their technology was gone, and then but they're continents apart. But somehow they all are on the same line. It's just really strange.
I mean, if you want to go biblical with this, that can be explained essentially by the Tower of Babel, because if that's anywhere near, if those areas are anywhere near where that was built, the whole reason the Tower of Babel was not finished is because God literally looked at mankind and went, hey, this is amazing what they're doing, but if they're capable of this, then there will be nothing that is impossible for them. And so he separated us by language so that we could not continue to do that.
He separated us by language. How did he get people from where we assume the Tower of Babel was somewhere in the middle of the East,
Right?
in the Middle East? How did they get them over to the Americas?
People had to already be in the Americas.
You know, I
People were
heard
all over the
argument.
world in that area as well, and I mean, so
How
the
did the
Bible
people get there?
expressly does, well, travel, obviously, boats, whatever.
But okay, right, but they would have all died during the flood.
No,
Remember, everything
no,
perished during the flood.
no, because the Tower of Babel is after the flood.
Exactly. So how did the people get there?
Noah survived. Humanity started over through Noah. Hundreds of years passed before the Tower of Babel. There were plenty of generations of people.
They weren't ocean farers. How did they get there?
They were
Are you
oceanfarers.
asking how?
There were fishermen back in those days.
They were
Are you
fishermen.
asking how they got from the Middle East around that area to the Americas?
Yeah, how'd they get there?
Let's take a look at as well. They point out
I
that
think they're
things
going
are
to say a
well,
land
the
bridge.
actual map of America, of the entire world, is things are a lot closer than you think. They're still a long ways apart, but you can still get to certain areas faster, and with time you can have enough supplies and stuff to go from that area to the next. So while you don't
Okay, they
sail just from the UK straight to America, like is Greenland and Iceland like right between the two? Or they're the closest to America from the UK, right? I mean, I'm gonna open the world map. I don't know the world map
evidence of
enough.
the oldest civilizations are actually down in South America.
Okay, so based on what I'm seeing, you have Iceland between the UK and America, as well as a good chunk of Greenland. If they came from Liberia and whatnot in down by the bottom Atlantic part of the Atlantic Ocean from like Libya, Mali, and Nigeria and stuff, they could have gone to Brazil, which connects with Colombia and Central America up through Mexico and everything. That would have been a lot shorter of a trip as opposed to being
I mean,
from the UK straight to the US.
Noah's Ark couldn't even work. I just don't see them sailing the oceans and repopulating like that. But
Except that it
I
did.
don't know.
I mean, if it wiped out all of humanity, then we wouldn't be here right now. And I mean, if God is real and He kept them safe, hey, if God is real and He keeps us safe, then He definitely kept Noah safe. He wasn't just gonna put him out there and go, "Hey, I'm leaving to you to your own devices. You good luck. I'm gonna flood the world, so good luck to you." No, He continued to bless him and watch over him.
I mean, but that's assuming the flood actually happened.
So, but we're assuming too that, okay, so all of a sudden some ancient peoples were able to miraculously cross oceans to populate on different continents, but yet people weren't able to make transatlantic trips or transoceanic trips up until around the 13 or 1400s, but they were still skirting close to the shores. They really didn't start really going out into the waters, into the deep oceans,
To be fair,
around the 1400s.
To
we
be
don't
fair,
have proof of that.
the Romans had a
We
recipe.
do have proof of that. We have absolute proof of that.
Well,
The
no, you have
Romans
no
had
proof
it.
that they weren't capable of doing that before then, because there's nothing to say that before, like, you know, any of Christopher Columbus and stuff, that people were not sailing large distances in paddle boats and stuff. I mean, Even the UK, when they came over to war with the US stuff, and when Christopher Columbus sailed, they didn't have engines and stuff on their boats. They sailed by the wind, and that's still
They
very
had
possible to
sail.
do back in the day. Yeah, sails were still a thing back in the day of Jesus, because
So
that
they
was a
took
quick
their
way to
beer
do it.
cans and put them on their boats and just sailed the oceans and just said,
Easy,
"Oh shit, yeah, we're just gonna go." I don't
easy.
think so. Let me tell you my hypothesis on this whole thing, and I'll tell you. I'll just be frank here. I truly think that there were people on this planet, and this goes against the book, but there were people on this planet when the continents broke apart, they were all here when it was Pangea. And then as it broke apart and drifted away on the continental drifts and formed their own continents, and people got stranded on their continents, and then we have the Bering Strait that happened during that ice age
Fair enough.
that took out the woolly mammoths and all that.
I mean,
Um,
I mean, I'm gonna
yeah,
personally say that because mammoth meat was considered to be good as far as history can tell. I don't believe we had an ice age. If we had an ice age that killed off a good chunk of freaking animals that are built to survive the cold, humans would absolutely not survive that. Yes, we can adapt to a good amount, but an animal that is built for the cold and absolute freezing temperatures, no.
I mean,
If it killed
on the
them, it
other
would
end
have
of that
killed
spectrum,
us.
there are humans. There are
but
there are humans that live in extreme desert conditions, like 100% dryness all year round.
True.
Those are considered equally extreme conditions. I mean, it's possible. I don't, there's I'm not a geologist nor am I a climate expert, but I'm pretty sure there's some information about the ice age and actual evidence that it actually happened. But
Similar
without
to there is actual evidence that the world was flooded. They did find the remainders of the ark on the mountain. The
in
Bible talks
Turkey,
about it.
in
you're
Turkey,
talking about Mount
those
Ararat,
yeah,
and
Yeah,
they did find something, but they haven't called it Noah's Ark yet.
that's
there
because they don't
it's
want to admit that
it's
the Bible's real. It's kind of like they
so the
found
one
Sodom and
so
Gomorrah, which is the most sulfur-rich place in the entire world, because when God made it rain literal sulfur on them, it burned up the entire city because of their sin and stuff back in those days. They that alone is proof. There is nowhere in the entire world that is as sulfur rich
I thought it
as
was
Sodom and
salt.
Gomorrah.
I
Yeah,
thought they
but they
treated it with
haven't
salt.
found any evidence of a civilization or settlements in that area.
That's because people stayed away from Sodom and Gomorrah after that. I don't think they settled anywhere near. They went miles away. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Let's go back to aliens. Why would aliens be real? Here's another big question. Actually, let me ask you this: if aliens are supposedly real, if they are real, why have they not contacted us yet? If they really do think we're stupid, that's not an excuse. Even
What
if they
makes you
hated
think
us,
they
they would want
haven't?
to help us.
But what
Maybe.
makes you think they haven't? What makes you think they haven't? Do you ever wonder? Okay, so listen, I'm going to make some points here. Now we in just the 20th and the 21st century, we have had huge advances in technology. It's been unbelievable, especially in the last 50 years. The technology every year becomes more and more and more advanced. Yet we spent thousands of years, 2000 around to well 19 1900 years, literally living off the land, trying just struggling to survive as a human race. And then all of a sudden we have this technology. So you say, well, what proof do we have or whatever? Well, I can't say we have definitive proof, but we don't not have proof. We don't know that our governments aren't involved with aliens. We don't know that, but you know the shit they hide from us, these governments, it's an atrocity. It's
Yeah,
a
for sure.
possibility that they are in contact with aliens and that a lot of our technology is alien technology. And this is just the technology that we have now. We're not even talking about the stuff that the military has right now and the stuff that they're using, in the militaries, or they're just holding back from releasing.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at these things and be like, whoa, wait a second now. What's up with that? That's my opinion. Nobody really knows. Is it
No.
possible that they're aliens? Biblically, you look at it. Well, if you believe the Bible word for word, probably not. But if you don't believe the Bible word for word, I mean, why wouldn't if you believe in a creator or God, why would he have only created Earth? If he created everything, why wouldn't he have created other species elsewhere to see how they worked out too?
It's kind of like the argument just
Well,
because
I
it
mean,
isn't.
because we
doesn't
are
mean it's-
literally his favorite species ever. Period. Blank point. Period. Because not even the angels get forgiveness.
For the rewritten word. For the rewritten word. We
No,
are.
per the text we have from the Dead Scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls,
You
which are the
do know
oldest
the Dead
texts.
Sea Scrolls also affirm Kabbalism, right? Along with
Kabbalism goes along with the
Yeah.
Bible quite a bit to a good degree, because Jesus is in that. They do point out that Jesus is God in that
Yes.
and everything too, some
But they
degree.
go all the way back to Gnostic Christianity before even the Universal Church and the Council of Nicaea. I mean, if I was a modern Christian, I would not want to be tied to that type of group, though.
Well, again, like when Catholics and people got a hold of it and translated it and saw what it actually had to say, they kept out an enormous amount. If we really had the Bible in its full, oh man, it would take you years just to read it at all. Because they even point out in the New Testament that if they actually recorded all of the blessings and miracles that Jesus performed, there's not enough room to write all of it. He did that many things for people.
Who's to say Jesus isn't an alien and God's just an alien and angels are aliens and Lucifer's an alien?
I mean, if you want to go by it, anything that is not considered human could technically be considered aliens, aside from the fact that mankind gave everything names. Like mankind named the lions, birds, etc. So aside from that, everything that exists on the earth is an alien to a human because it is not human in that sense. Because I mean, look at the fact that we have illegal aliens as well.
Like, how about Jesus and God are extraterrestrials? I mean, there's also that, but there's nothing saying there aren't. Holy host, heaven, the sky above. I mean, coming down
literally
with
says that
wings.
he's a spiritual being.
Okay.
And he has to be. Science proves that God cannot exist as we perceive one another, because
science doesn't prove anything about God. Nothing. There's nothing that it can prove.
Science does prove God, because the fact that time, space, and matter have to come into existence at the exact same time. You cannot have time and space without matter. You cannot have space and matter without time.
That doesn't prove God.
The Bible proves that in the beginning you have time. God created the heavens, space, and the earth, matter. A trinity of trinities created simultaneously in an instant. That's the only way that could happen.
So the only evidence you have of him creating the universe and everything in it is him saying that in a book that a human wrote down.
Since we're going to go this way, I'm going to point this out. I would rather live my entire life believing God only to find out that he does not exist, than to live my entire life against him and not believing in him only to find out that he does, because you don't get a second chance after this.
Pascal's wager. I reckon you can live your life however you want. I'll live my life how I want. I have no problem with people believing in whatever they want to believe, because I believe in what I believe. I don't believe anyone should be discriminated against.
It's not about discriminating against you. It's about saving people's souls. Because the people that don't believe and don't develop a relationship with God and are not saved are going to hell. Point blank, period. I mean,
to you, yes.
According to
according to Jesus, who said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody gets to the Father except through me." And you want to know how you get to the Father through him? It says, God gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life.
And then in the Old Testament, God also said, "Do not sacrifice your children for your sins." And he sacrifices his son, which is also him, it's rocky on that terms for me,
No,
and I think for a lot of people.
that was already in the plans. God knows everything that's going to happen from the beginning to the end. Man cannot live without sin. We cannot go our lives and live perfectly enough, because in order to get to heaven on our own, we have to live absolutely pitch perfect, picture perfect, white as snow. We cannot. Only God could. And so he gave himself for us so that we didn't have to, because he loves us. I mean, shit.
Let's talk about the ancient Sumerians
Okay.
and the
Their
text
version.
and
Oh
the
man.
text they left behind, which it talks about chariots coming out of the sky with their gods on board. And that takes us into Enkill. Is it help me with the
It's
names?
Inkai and Enlil.
Yeah, Enkai and Enlil.
Yeah, the god of they considered water and waterways, and the god of air.
Yeah, so if you look at the texts of the ancient Sumerians, they provided evidence of chariots fires coming from the sky, which indicated now, and you can read those online. The story of the ancient Sumerians and what they left behind, which you can see that on Ancient Aliens as well. But I kind of wanted to look into the and what is it again? And kill and
Enkai and Enlil.
Thank you. And I wanted to kind of look into that. And, the ancient Sumerians talked about fire in the sky, chariots coming out of the sky. And it sounded like there was like this huge war between these two alien factions on this planet. So, and they talk about that they were our creators. They created us. And then we talk about, okay, now they have been finding bones across the globe of huge human beings. Huge. They look to be human, but they're huge.
Yeah,
Huge,
they were
huge.
Nephilim.
Yeah.
They were Nephilim. They were angels that mated with mankind, because angels saw women as so beautiful that they denied God, came down and wed them, and had sex with humans, literally. And the Nephilim were born, and they were an abomination to God. Goliath was considered a Nephilim. That's why people feared him. He was so well endowed and so enormous. He stood at, like, I think it was 9 feet tall or something, huge,
You
gigantic
said
man.
well endowed.
Well endowed in, like,
I
his
know. I know
strength
what
and
you meant.
everything.
I
But
just kind of
anyway, like, people, they feared him and everything. And then you get David, who became king of the Jews, walks up with a rock in a sling and kills him and cuts off his head with his own sword.
Yeah, we got these stories and we've got, these evidences and if they're digging up those bodies, they're finding those bones. And again, but those giant bones go along with the ancient Sumerian stories of creation.
Well, you can also say that
So,
for just about anything. Anything could technically be the truth for creation ultimately, but I would rather believe in a God that loves me and everything. None of these other
I,
gods actually give a shit about you in pretty much any religion or even mythology, like Thor and all of them for that matter. In fact, the Greek gods and stuff don't actually give a shit about you whatsoever either. So why would you want to even believe in the gods that are just gonna shit all over you anyway? Or would you want to believe in the God that loves you, who made you in his
well,
image?
okay, but wait a second now. Slow your roll here because there are people out there that'll tell you that they don't feel like they're loved by God, that their lives have been so horrible that, things have been taken from them, people have been taken from them. They've had horrible lives
And you
and
want to
they
have
have
the answer to
believed in
that?
God.
Here's the answer
And
to
they
that.
have believed in God.
Here is the answer to that, and it says it in
But
the Bible. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. End of story. But God, Jesus came so that you would have life and life abundantly. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. He does nothing bad to you. He doesn't take you take anything from you. That is all the devil entirely, and it's full. That God will never hurt you. He will never step on you. He will never slam a door in your face. That's all the devil. If someone dies suddenly from cancer or a car crash or something, that ain't God. It ain't God going, it's his time. No, it wasn't his time. That was the devil going, hey, I need you to believe that God did this to you. Because when people believe that God is
So
that kind of
it's,
hateful
it's,
person, that's when they go
it's,
against him. The whole point is he
it's the
wants you to be
devil's
saved.
fault. It's the devil's
Mhm.
fault that old people start decaying and have a horrible time as the older they get.
Can I
You
interject
want to
that?
know
that
why we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden? Because God knew that once we started sinning, we would have to live with all these diseases and stuff in this body. If he had let us stay in the garden and eat of the tree of life, we would be living forever with cancer.
Wait,
We'd be living
Mark,
forever with all these horrible diseases, suffering for the rest of eternity. But he
okay.
kicked us out so that when the
so he
body
made a
dies, we get
system.
heaven. We
So
get
he made
heaven.
all this, right?
But we
He
were
designed
talking.
all
He
this, made
gave
all
everybody
this.
free will. That's the
We
big
were
thing.
talking about
Ultimately,
the
everything's a
ancient
choice.
Sumerians. The ancient Sumerians who came before. Who came before?
No
They were.
one. They came before no one. They did not come before the Jews.
You
They did
want
not
to
come
let me
before Adam and
finish
Eve.
before you cut me off? Because
Well,
honestly, we weren't really getting
technically,
into a religious
if you're
discussion. We were
looking at
discussing what the ancient Sumerians left.
if you look at dating, they do technically come before any Abrahamic religion was formed in
They
that continent.
can't because God created the Jews first. He created Adam and Eve, and everyone comes from Adam and Eve.
That's in the Bible, yes. I'll give
It-
that its place, but from what they've been dating and digging up, it looks as if there was many other religions in that area before Abrahamic religions became a thing, before the Jews walked in that area. I mean, the Jews even had to fight the Canaanites. And if you go back to the Bible, yes, it's Abraham's people, but that's if you actually believe in what the Bible teaches without actual evidence of
Well, how
what it
could you believe
says.
anything else without actual evidence? We have none then.
We have the actual evidence with the ancient Sumerians and what they've left behind,
We have the
and
actual
their
evidence with what the
early
Jews and
dating.
them have left behind too.
I mean, to be honest, the oldest religion on the planet is Hinduism, like organized religion wise.
Well, here's another point that I'll make then. The Bible points out that Christians, above all things, will be persecuted by pretty much everyone. And if you really look at it, no other religion is persecuted by any other religion to the degree that Christianity is.
Christianity owns all of the Western world, and they have. And when they really did own it, like control it, it wasn't great for everyone. And that's
Well, yeah, that's
documented in
because they
history. It
used
wasn't
the Bible for their advantage, which was completely against the Bible
since
in and
its
of itself.
inception
The
until
Catholic
reformers
Church,
came and fought each other. I mean,
the Catholic,
do I believe the Catholics? Do I believe the Protestants? Do I read from the Catholic Bible? Do I read from the Protestant Bible? Who do you pick from?
the
Who's right?
The Catholic Church is directly responsible for lack of momentum as far as human advancement in maths, science, and healthcare. And the Catholic Church is directly responsible for that because they determined at one point the earth was flat and that was it. And if you spoke anything against what they were saying, or you even tried to look inside a human body to learn the anatomy of the humans, you were convicted of heresy and killed in horrific ways.
Now, let's not forget that I don't think Christians are too persecuted here in the West to begin with. I mean, they did just get an overturning of Roe v. Wade, and they're promising to look at.
And yet we also lost the police state. We had lost our right to warrants and stuff. Police can just break into your house and do whatever the hell they want with you and your stuff without a warrant and everything.
That's not just an assault on Christians, that's assault on everyone.
Well, still, I mean, yeah, it's a win. And regardless of whether you're a Christian or you're not, you're an idiot for thinking that it's a woman's choice. It's not. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for realizing what a woman really is. Because if that's what it takes for you to go, hey, a woman is defined by, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A woman is a woman, a man is a man. You've said it yourself. Anyway, it's not your body, your choice. That child's body is not dead. inside of you until it's born. Life
question
doesn't
is
work that
just
way.
like,
This is what happens when a political podcast tries to do something fun.
Yeah, no shit.
when we go your body, your choice, why is it only your body, your choice when it comes to abortion? But when it comes to taking an experimental mRNA vaccine, it's no longer your body or your choice. Explain that one to me.
It doesn't make sense. The whole fucking world doesn't make sense.
Nothing
You
makes
can
sense
remove
anymore.
a human life out of your body by sucking it out in a vacuum piece by piece, but you can't preserve your own human life by refusing unknown chemicals and DNA restructuring. It's beyond mind-boggling to me, and I don't know. I honestly, at the end of the day, think that people are fucking idiots.
I just think the
an idiot
corporate war machine needs more labor, so women are now forced to give birth. Let's be real here.
at the end of the day, but I want to go back to the ancient Sumerian texts that were left behind, and
About
they
the
had
aliens.
original writing in cuneiform, and they were actually really documented their society really well, and they were a very 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 very, like Jordan said, before the Abrahamic period, and they did document very well, and there are other instances of other civilizations who documented either by like the Egyptians had their hieroglyphs. They have a similar type of deal in South America where they've documented their societies that have come and gone. But let's talk about things like Easter Island. How did those ginormous statues get there, and who did that? It's amazing. Or we'll talk about
I
Stonehenge.
mean, a lot of this ancient alien stuff, I feel, takes credit away from humans and the human ability to be industrious.
See, the reason I brought up the whole like Egyptian thing with the pyramids and everything is that's the next thing. When you stood up all those other stones and stacked them on each other, you take a beam, put it unevenly on another beam right in the center of it, kind of like a seesaw, and the longer end is used for leverage. And so you put the rock on the smaller end and you push down on the long end to give leverage, and it takes
Yep.
far less force than it would for you to lift the rock yourself, and it's lifted by this device, and you can then angle it and aim it and set things on top of each other, and then all you have to do is go over there and adjust it just a little bit, and you've got a stack. And they have proof of this. They have videos to show you how they did it back in those days, and even including
seen
Easter
them.
Island and everything. So
I've
that's
seen
your
them,
proof that
but
humans did that.
what I'm saying, but that's Egypt. We're not talking about Egypt. When I was
I
talking
know.
about
I'm
the
talking about how
Something
it
a
all
little.
lines up. It's all built the same way. People
Can I
didn't just carry the
change?
rocks.
Can I change the topic really quick?
They line up like you need to see the pictures so you can see what I'm talking about. Like literally, you can't even fit a credit card in the seams. It's put together like a modern marvel.
Yeah.
That is something that they would not have been capable of, even with the tools that they had, and the way that you said that they lifted them and things like that. There's no way, and the cuts from the original quarry where they took this rock shows that. I'll send you info on this. I want you to just read it. Just
We should
humor.
definitely, I think, hit up the pyramids again in a special episode because there's
Mhm.
actually a lot to go through, and we can be very, very nitpicky with all the details. I think between the three of us, we can really get down to what's going on and
Yeah.
bunk it or stamp it as strange.
Now, and I just want to point out the Indus Valley. They call the Indus Valley, and I believe that's over by India, over in that region. Indus Valley was supposed to be the heartbeat of civilization, literally where civilization began, and there's evidence of that as well. So there's so much evidence out there that and I want to just also kind of reiterate too, when we're talking about like the Far East, as far as like China and all over in that area, they also have like drawings and stonework that shows chariots in the sky and people looking up at them. So, I mean, it just makes you wonder because we were talking about alien visitations and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm just saying that there is some evidence from the ancient past that there was some sort of visitation. Is it actual evidence? I don't know.
I do have a personal hypothesis about the chariots in the sky deal for like, especially some of the the Mayan stuff,
Mhm.
like of what they depicted and what I've seen. I think they were depicting and celebrating meteor showers in a lot of them.
And comets.
Yes, in comments.
Yeah.
And if I was a prehistoric human and I saw that, I would assume like, oh, something great's happening or it's an omen.
Yeah. Explosions in the sky, meteorites coming through the atmosphere. You know, it could be anything. But they did document it. Could it be aliens? Maybe. None of us were there. We don't know.
Our best proof that we're ever going to have of intelligent life, I think, outside of the solar system is using radio telescopes and satellites, antennas, and we're trying to see if we can catch intelligent communication in some way or some form or some sort of.
Yeah.
Aren't they doing that now? Though? Haven't
Yes,
they
and
tried?
actually,
they're attempting it right now. Like we haven't really had anything actually go through, so at least not
there's
the rumor of.
Wait a sec. This kid's got something here.
So I think it was 76 was the first hit they got when they're trying to discover and research the background radiation from the Big Bang. They got a big random sequence that was the wow signal. I think everyone knows about that one. More recently, though, China's observatory did report that they caught something that is outside of normal. But Chinese media, of course, shut that down quickly for whatever reason. It was really interesting. They posted it in a Chinese science journal. I forgot what it was called. But they have caught strange things like FRBs. And, you know, sometimes it's not even just about looking for extraterrestrial life, but also discovering more cosmological events as well. Because there's a lot that you can pick up with radio waves compared to optical telescopes.
Yeah. Planets collide with each other. I wasn't aware of that, but I guess that happens. Planets will collide with each other.
Oh, yeah. Planets, galaxies, superclusters.
Didn't they say something like we're in the Milky Way galaxy and that our galaxy is heading towards another galaxy?
Andromeda. It'll be like 3.5 billion some odd years.
Yeah, well, I won't be alive then.
No.
Right.
I don't think any of us I don't think that's going to be any of our worries. I think that's a long time away. But actually, that's one of the few galaxies that's easier to see with the naked eye in some months around the Earth. You can actually see, and if you have a telescope, even just a lower end one, you can actually see the outline of the galaxy as it heads closer and closer towards us.
What do you guys think of like wormholes?
I think it's a very, very interesting and intriguing theory, and I know there's universities right now that are investigating Einstein-Rosen bridges as principle, and hopefully one day they'll make something out of it because that could make space travel quite efficient.
Well, it would, but isn't like the whole thing with the way time works with that. It's that if you actually went through a wormhole, the way that they have so far proven it would work, as far as how matter and everything comes together and time and everything works, a minute for you would be like several years for someone on Earth. So regardless of whether you make it through that portal in 10 minutes or whatever, if you came back, you'd be looking at all of your family and everybody you know dead. There's a whole new generation on the planet, possibly already a chunk of the way grown up.
So I'm not a really big expert on this type of topic here, but I think, a stabilized wormhole, given it's not going to be a unstable wormhole where you don't know where it ends and meets and you don't know when it opens and closes. Personally, I just lost my train of thought, man.
No, you're good. I think I see where you're going with it, but the biggest thing is they point out that no matter what, because it's warping space, it's warping time. So even stable or unstable, you're warping everything.
So time dilation because of the gravitational constant.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this is all futuristic sci-fi theoretical bullshit here, but if they can find a way to change that, then the time dilation would have very little effect on actual wormhole travel. And
So what-
it's
So what you guys are saying, it's not going to work like Stargate.
no,
No.
no. Maybe in 1,000 years, once everything, and then they discover some weird sci-fi way to do things, but realistically, no. It might be enough to send communications from one end of a quadrant to another instantaneously instead of having to wait for that signal to reach. It could be something as simple as a novelty or a triumph. Oh, we can make a wormhole that does nothing. Look, we can make a wormhole. But yeah, we shall see. I mean,
Whoever came up with the name wormhole, I want to talk about that.
it'd be cool if it was like Stargate.
I know, right? I'm just saying, I liked Stargate. Did you ever watch Stargate, Aiko?
No.
No. Oh my gosh, you missed a really good show.
I'm fine without it.
On Stargate Atlantis, they had Jason Momoa, and he was Hottie McSexy in that show. I was like, hey, I want to Stargate with you.
No, but like if aliens do exist and they are making and attempting meaningful in any way conversation with us, they would have to theoretically, like, I believe, go faster than the speed of light, because there's no fucking way that there's intelligent life like in the immediate vicinity. I think we would have detected it by now. If so, they're far the fuck away, and as we know, the speed of light is a universal constant as we know it. So
well, we can also
going
look at
faster
it in
possible.
one more way as well. It's also assuming that they have far greater technology than we do, but
Yes.
it's also potential that they have far lesser technology than we do as well, which would just prove as to why, if they are, even several hundred or tens of light years away, that's still tens of light years away. Or even a light year away is too far for us to get a signal out. We don't have the technology for that. And if they are far less advanced than us, then absolutely not. They're not going to at all be able to communicate with us, let alone get to us.
Well,
It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Well, I just want to point out the obvious is I'm kind of worried, like, if there was intelligent life out there and they were able to go from wherever they are to here, that means they are way more advanced than what we are. And
They're
true.
several eons advanced.
But even
Yeah,
then,
we
like,
have to be
assuming that
careful.
they can travel at light speed and everything, it still bends time and whatnot doing that. So it goes back to them reaching us would take them a second, but ultimately it would still be hundreds of thousands of years before they technically actually got to us. So that means we probably won't see them if the world actually does last for that long,
Yes, and that is assuming that the speed of light as we know it is, in fact, the maximum speed. And even then, matter can't really go the speed of light like that, not without like spaghettification and all sorts of weird time dilation effects.
Oh yeah, you would burn to a crisp in nanoseconds.
You would not only that, but you would expand linearly in a straight line, almost as fast as the light goes. It would stretch you out, and you would pretty much disintegrate.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to move on from the nerd talk. So I just want to go to the medieval times over in Europe, particularly England. And I know there were several times in that period where people saw things moving in the sky. So obviously we couldn't discount it as drones or helicopters or airplanes during that time. So how would we explain that besides now at that time too, they did know what comets were. And they knew that there was space out there, things were flying by. But I'm talking things that were closer to Earth that they were seeing. And they did.
I only thought the solar system was 4 planets.
Well, I mean, they only do so much.
I know.
These things that they were documenting were a lot closer to Earth. So what could that have been? And then we talk about one more thing I want to kind of talk about a little bit too is the Bermuda Triangle. And not only do we have the Bermuda Triangle, but there's another one over on the other side, over by like Japan, over there somewhere in that ocean. And so there's a couple of them. I think there's 2 or 3 that are similar to the Bermuda Triangle. And So, when we look at stuff like that, the things that have happened in the Bermuda Triangle that have been documented, could that be alien, or is that the Earth's magnetic thing? Is that like an anomaly on our planet? Like, and if there's one anomaly, there's another one over here and another one over there. And so we look at that as well, and what happened to the things that went in and didn't come out?
Yeah. Fun.
Where'd they go?
Usually to the bottom. If
Well,
they
they
ever
haven't
were
found
found.
anything. I mean, like now they have the pie in the sky there. They can look down and they can actually see like the topography on the bottom of the ocean and stuff like that. And they can see a lot of things down there. I know a lot of it's super deep, and there's
Yeah.
things down there that are so freaking scary. It's not even funny.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Like,
must
ooh.
go down
I
there.
don't like the ocean, and like I'm like
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
scary.
want to live in outer space. I don't want to live in the ocean.
No, me neither.
If we
I'm
have a
afraid.
nuclear fallout, I'm gonna I'm gonna happily step out and breathe in the air. If I mutate, that's a blessing. If I die, that's an even bigger blessing.
If you turn into a zombie and you want to eat like people's brains and stuff, do you want me to kill you?
Oh, wow.
Well, I would already be dead in that case. So do what you want.
Do you want me to finish you off, like to make sure that you can't eat other people, or do you want to be out there eating people? I mean, you got to let a girl know.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Well, it's a body without me in it. So do whatever. I really don't care at that point. If I'm already dead, I'm dead. I'm in heaven. I don't give a shit what you do with my body.
I'm gonna tie you to a stake and burn you.
What the fuck?
Be my guest. I'm already dead. It's not like I can feel it.
I'm gonna perform some rite.
Some ritual burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a ritual. I'm gonna create my own ritual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Yeah, my zombie plan. I don't think my zombie plan's very good. I'm just
I
putting
don't,
that.
I don't think it's very sound. I don't
Nah,
think I have much of a zombie plan, if I'm being honest.
I don't even know. I really worry about these vaccinated people though. Like, what's it gonna do to them? It's like some weird monkeypox virus mixed with this mRNA vaccine gonna turn them into brain-eating cannibals. I'm like, I get worried.
Or it's just going to generate a giant super bug that's going to wipe out half of humanity.
Will it only wipe out the ones that are vaccinated? Is what I want to know.
Probably not, no.
No, probably not.
Nope. And they're probably going to use that as a way to
The
enforce
ultimate
more
zombie
law
plan
enforcement.
is get as much supplies as you can and go to the absolute least populated area nearest to you.
Would that be like the same thing for an alien invasion? Do you suppose?
I don't think so. No, because if we had an actual alien invasion and they're flying spaceships around at the rate that we see these UFOs flying and just darting around the sky at basically at quote unquote light speed in a way that we can't tell where they're going to end up next in like an instant, then we have to assume they can they guaranteedly have some form of super thermal detectors or some shit. They're gonna be able to fly over the entire. Let's assume that they can fly that faster. All right, and you take 5 of them. And they can fly at 1,000 miles an hour. It's not going to take them long to scan the whole damn Earth.
No.
It's really not. And if they have super thermal computers or anything like that, oh yeah, they're gonna pick up heat signatures miles away. They're gonna just go, there's one of them, get them. Pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
Did you ever watch War of the Worlds, you guys?
That's one of the dumbest movies ever. Because
That freaked me out. 'Cause them aliens come straight up out the ground. They were like, and they were like,
yeah, they buried their technology in the ground, but they did come from outer space in pods.
Yeah.
Yeah. The blessing
That
was
was
the fact that like our own atmosphere literally was what their downfall was. They tried to terraform our planet and died doing it because they couldn't breathe in our atmosphere, and basically water and oxygen fucking killed them.
Didn't it? I thought that was the one where they had fed them a virus. Maybe that was a different one.
Well, no,
That
because
was
no
in
War of the World,
the-
no War of the Worlds is where they come out of the ground and then they suck out your guts and stick you in that little cage, drag you inside, suck your freaking guts out, and spray you all over the fucking planet. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But they ended up dying because of our atmosphere. They literally end up getting killed by our atmosphere. They can't breathe and survive in it. So it killed them, and it killed all of that shit they sprayed all over our world too. They literally just died by existing on our planet.
I guess they didn't think that one out very good.
No, they didn't. They just buried these things that are underneath everything. Apparently, far enough down that we wouldn't realize. I mean, sewage systems. I just to talk about that kind of a scenario. Sewage systems and shit go way deep. I mean, things
Yeah.
back in the past went pretty damn deep into the earth, and that was just people digging out holes and making their houses in the walls and
But
shit.
did you ever see, like, in Scotland, Edinburgh, Scotland, it has been there forever, a long time,
Right.
since yeah, for a long, long, long time. But part of that city is actually buried just from the movement of time. Weird.
Fair.
I know I can't describe it. I watched a program on it years ago, and yeah, but that part of that city is actually buried. So things that were above ground are actually below ground and considered basement level now. And I don't know how that happens. And I know like so. I guess the Earth's crust just keeps getting dust built up. I don't know.
I don't technically I don't think that's even tech possible.
It,
I have no
it
idea.
is possible. Because it happened in Edinburgh, Scotland, and when you look at like things that they dig up bones from civilizations that were post flood, if you're looking at this biblically, and it's buried 6 feet under. So in retrospect, if they came millions of years ago, just saying, millions of years ago and buried themselves into the crust and they went down deep enough, they would be down deep enough that we wouldn't have hit them. And we can only go so deep. I think the deepest hole they have right now, they did in Russia, trying to see how deep they could go.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, I mean, since we're all trying to be smart and whatnot, I figured I'd just add a little smartness up in there.
Disclaimer: we do not actually claim to be smart or know what we're talking about. Okay.
Yep. Don't know shit about nothing.
In fact, most time people are like, "Oh my god," until they play Trivial Pursuit with me, and then they're like, "Holy cow! How did you know that?" I'm like, "I don't know." My brain just holds random information, and then some of it now I can't remember like specifics, but I give you the gist. Welcome to old age, people. Do you guys got to look forward to?
Terrifying.
Getting old. Woo woo.
Terrifying.
All right, well that shut you guys up. Now it's my turn to talk. No, I'm just kidding.
And now that she's talking, I get back to my point on
Smack the shit out of him.
from Michigan.
I'll
Yeah,
get it. I'll take it. I'll put that shit on my credit card, fly down there, smack you, and fly home. I ain't playing. You don't know me. Yeah, cray, cray.
You want to say
Psychos.
did you just say you don't know me? I do. I know you would do that. I know exactly that you would do that. You would absolutely do that. You'd come here for fucking 1 hour. You'd drive down to St. You'd drive down to wherever I am. I'm not actually there anymore. We moved. Did I tell you that Miami is beautiful? It really is. Anyway, that being said, yeah, you would drive down here from wherever the place is, and then you'd smack me for 10-second
Yeah.
interaction. Hey, I'm here. Smack. Bye.
I'm stopping at the Waffle House on my way. Once I get in there, I'm gonna stop at the Waffle House, have a little snack, and then I'll come smack you and go home.
Okay, let me know when you're almost here so I can leave.
Well, I mean, why don't you just meet me at the Waffle House? We'll have a waffle, and I'll beat the shit out of you with a waffle. It'll be great.
Wait, whoa.
You ever
You
been
said slap me. We're not. No. You can't just change it to beat the shit out of you. No.
with a waffle? Are you
No.
scared of a waffle?
I don't want to get the shit beat out of me one way or another.
Not even with a waffle? I'm like, ooh, beat me with your waffle.
That just sounds wrong.
That does sound very wrong.
That just sounded. No, thank you.
Well, what about beat me with your footlong?
That's even worse. That's
No.
even worse. Oh my god. Okay, you know what? This podcast is done. We're done.
Okay. That
I've
works.
been awake a long time. I'm just saying.
I think we're good. I think we've been going over an hour, if not about an hour by now. I'm pretty confident we
Have
have
we
been.
been going that long? Holy
Yeah, we
moly.
have. We've been going that long. Hey, we've gone over like every other thing. Hardly at all on aliens or thing, but that's what we do here in Aiko and Psycho Podcast because we're a bunch of lunatics. So if you guys enjoy our
pretty
show, come back and join us, be lunatics with us some more, because we ain't going anywhere else.
Bum. Well, I might be going to St. Augustine / Miami to the Waffle House.
Thank you for
This Mac
saying it
Ice
out
is awesome.
loud. Now, ladies and gentlemen, no, I do not actually live there. I live in Tennessee. What I haven't told people is that I moved back to Tennessee because I absolutely hated Florida and the heat. But I appreciate you assuming that I still lived in Florida. But yes, I live in Tennessee again because I'm a dumbass and I just can't seem to get away from the cold. I way prefer the cold, and I'm so grateful to be in Tennessee.
Is it
Thank you guys for
cold in
watching the
Tennessee?
stream. It's, well, in comparison to Florida, it's definitely colder in Tennessee, and I love it. And when winter comes back around, we gotta get some snow and some ice. And I'm totally fine with that. I can put on as many clothes as I want in the winter, and not a damn soul bats an eye. The moment I strip down naked because it's hot outside, they fucking throw me in jail. I think that's a freaking double standard right there. That's some bullshit.
So what you're saying is you just got out of jail?
Thank you guys for watching.
Well, I just first before you hang up, let me just say one thing. Double standard. Let's talk about double standards for a quick second. Men can walk around shirtless out in the public, mowing their lawns and shit, but if a woman does it, the cops come. That.
I wouldn't call the cops.
And I think that we're done with this podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining.
Wait. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell so you're reminded of when we drop new content, because today was a surprise evening episode of complete weirdness. So we do that every once in a while just to get away from the politics. We thought we'd hit you with a little religion and aliens.
And hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like random talks with Aiko Psycho, or would you like random bullshit with Aiko and Psycho? Because either way, this has been one hell of an episode.
Boom, 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 boom. All right, y'all. See you Sunday with some updates on what's going on in the world. And until then, stay safe and have a happy 4th of July.
Bye.